Hi, welcome. My name is Rachel. I use they, them pronouns, and today I'm going to talk to you about all the stuff that I've been mending over the past couple months. So, this is going to be part of a video series that I'll be calling Make, Do, and Mend. Make, Do, and Mend, the phrase was actually an official government campaign in England during World War II in the 1940s, where people were encouraged to, rather than buying new things, clothing specifically, to use what they had in their homes, to reuse things, to take things apart, to find ways to make do with what they had. And they were doing this because resources were very slim. Most useful things, especially fabric, were being sent over to the war front. And the reason that I'm doing this today is kind of the opposite. Resources aren't scarce in the least bit. We have so much stuff. We have so much textile waste. We have so many things in the world. And I'm not going to go hugely into this because there are so many other people who have talked extensively about the impacts of the amount of textile waste that we have. One person whose videos I really like in general, but who does speak about specifically the make, do, and mend ethos of the 1940s is Retro Claude. I think some of those videos are a little bit older. You might have to scroll back, but I'm pretty sure she does have a few. And if anybody has any specific recommendations that they would like to make for people to follow, videos to watch, books to read, please, I'm all ears. This is something that I have been practicing for a long time, partly just out of necessity, but it's becoming a stronger part of my general ethic of making, and also just my general ethic of wearing clothing. I made a goal a few years ago that around 75% of my wardrobe would be secondhand. So either through thrift stores, vintage stores, clothing swaps, just a friend giving me clothing. I haven't found that very challenging to do. I do live in an area with a lot of thrift stores near me. It's pretty easy for me to find clothing in my size level this year and do my best to not buy any clothing at all in this last chunk of the year. There is that thrill and novelty factor when you have new clothing that I do miss out on. So I'm trying my level best to, rather than buy a new thing when I feel that desire for novelty, go through my piles and piles of clothes that just need a little bit of mending to make them wearable again. I thought this would be a fun thing to document. And I also, when I put everything together, I realized that this is kind of a lot of stuff. I'm just going to get started. I have a pile of stuff right next to me. And I'm going to start with first category, which is dyeing. The first thing I want to talk about is this Baggu bag. This bag I have had for 5 years, I think. And when I first bought it, it was this lovely bubblegum pink color. It's been my daily bag for quite some time. And over time, I spilled stuff on it. I put it through the washing machine. I spilled stuff on it again. And just over time, the color had really, really faded out. It also got really dirty because I used it all the time. And so I kind of shoved it to the back of the closet, and I wasn't really sure what to do with it because it doesn't have any rips or holes or anything. It's in perfect condition other than it didn't look very good. But then I did some research, and you can dye nylon, which is what Baggu bags are made out of, with RIT dye, just like the regular RIT dye. So I went to the store, bought some RIT dye, and I did buy, it was either called fuchsia or hot pink or something like that. It was definitely pink. And I bought that figuring even if I mess it up, maybe it'll just go back to the color that it was originally. but it did turn this very cherry red. So I followed the instructions on the back of the bottle, which say to like put the contents of half a bottle into however much water. So I went, yeah, sure, sounds right. Dumped it in and immediately realized, like as soon as I put the bag in, that it was going to be way darker than what I had intended. What I now realize I should have done is go to the Rit Dye website. They have a guide for how much dye to use for, first, what color you want to get out of it, and then second, like what you're dyeing. So, you know, if you're dyeing, say, a pair of pants, you're going to use this much dye, this much water. If you're dyeing, say, a bag, you would use significantly less dye. But overall, I'm happy with it. It's something I use every day. Like this is my everyday bag now. It has this really cute little pretzel charm on it. Let's see if I can put it here so you can properly see. Hopefully this is in frame, and if not, I will insert a picture. This bag charm is from This bag charm is from Brightside General, who is a local maker to me. I'm really happy with this bag. It turned from a bag that was sitting in the back of my closet to back into a bag that is this is my purse, basically. And these bags are amazing. You can fit so much stuff in this bag. I can fit like a paperback in this bag. I can fit at least 2 tall cans in this bag. I can fit a lot in this bag. So that's the bag. And in the same session, I also dyed a handful of t-shirts. I don't have them here with me because they're all in the laundry because I wear them regularly now. All of them were either white or lightly colored shirts that were like had just passed their best days. You know what I mean? I dyed them in a mixture of some of the spent hot pink dye and then also a purple dye. So some of them are like a little bit of a tie-dye effect, which I thought was really fun. In that same session, I also dyed some yarn. I got this at a thrift store for $1 a skein, but the color was just like not right for me. This is actually a color that makes its way into my wardrobe quite a lot. I don't know what I'm going to make with this yarn. So that's like a questionable inclusion in this video because it's not refreshing my wardrobe just yet, but it is refreshing my yarn stash. I don't really know what to make because it's kind of a weird yarn. It's boucle, but it's cotton. I only have 100 grams of it. So yeah, I don't know what to do with it. If you have any ideas, let me know. I do have more dye plans. I'm actually looking at a whole bag of things I want to dye, and I'm going to grab it. This is a whole bag of more stuff I want to dye. This was actually part of that first session, but a little bit of a fail because I didn't get the color even. These are a pair of pants that are from the thrift store. They were white, and then I dyed them purple. I think actually my partner even got them for herself, and then they didn't quite fit, so she passed them on to me, but I am never going to wear white pants. Unfortunately, I didn't do that good a job of dyeing them, and they're really like blotchy at the back. I am going to redo them. One thing I didn't do when I did these the first time is I didn't soak them beforehand, so that's part of the reason the dye is so blotchy. And I straight up just didn't have a big enough vessel. Let's see, what else is in here? This is a good example. This is a shirt that's just like, it's gotten kind of grimy over time, but I do like it. Smalls is it's a local coffee shop, and I really like the art on the back. It's got a few little stains that just haven't come out in the wash, and in general, it just feels like this shirt has passed its best days. This is a pair of shorts, and they're from a local company, and they're really nicely made. Unfortunately, the fabric is so light in color that if I'm wearing dark underwear, it shows right through. So I'm just going to over dye them significantly darker. I'm thinking dark purple or maybe dark blue. And if I dye blue over them, it'll turn purpley. And then I think this is kind of fun. I manage a yoga and Pilates studio, and we have like some merch that's just, it's been sitting around for ages. And it's like all of the sort of end ranges of each size. So like we have here, what is this? This is a 3XL shirt. Some people look great in this color. I personally would never choose this color for myself. I really don't think it does anything for me. But I'm going to dye over it with maybe, I'm thinking a blue. We just have some merch. It's been sitting around for ages. It's not selling. It's probably not going to sell at this point. So I just decided to take some of it home and like have some fun with it. The next technique that I'm going to talk about is patching, which is like classic mending technique. Jumpsuit is recently reintroduced to my wardrobe via patching. It had a little teeny tiny hole like right on the butt, right here. And I was sort of hemming and hawing for a little while about whether I wanted to do visible mending or if I wanted to try doing something invisible, but the hole was a little on the big side and I didn't trust my own skill in being able to properly patch it invisibly. And eventually I just decided, screw it. I have like a handful of iron-on denim patches and I just cut out a teeny little piece and iron that on. I think the print is loud enough that the patch like does kind of blend in. It does kind of show, but also what are you doing looking that closely at my butt? You know? The other thing that I've patched, ooh, I didn't even bring it upstairs. I didn't even bring this upstairs because this is another item that immediately worked its way back into my everyday wardrobe. This is a denim jacket. Maybe I'll button it up so you can see the front a little bit better. Hang on. Am I prepared? No, I'm not. That's okay. All right. So this jacket is something that I bought new. So is this jumpsuit, actually. This is a Levi's jacket. This jumpsuit, before anybody asks, is from a company called Red Sky. They are like semi-local to me, and they do not make this jumpsuit anymore, I don't think. You're welcome to check, but I'm pretty sure they don't. Anyway, okay, here is my jacket. I got cut off. Sorry if the angle is, well, I'm not actually that sorry. The angle will just be slightly different. But it cut off while I was talking about this jacket, so I'm just going to go from the beginning and talk about it again. This is a jacket, a Levi's jacket that I bought 5 years ago or so. And I did buy it new. And just like over time, just like anything, especially like a light wash denim, it's gotten a little bit ratty. For one thing, I put these iron-on patches on, this one here, and then the Ouroboros at the bottom. I had ironed them on, and then I decided that I wanted to wear the jacket to a specific event, and the patches like kind of weren't the vibe. So I took them off, but the adhesive of the iron-on patch had left like a dark mark on the fabric, which I covered that up with like a pin at the top, and then I figured the bottom one you couldn't really see very much, but it always kind of bugged me. And then I spilled coffee, you know, round down here, and that didn't come out. It was just sort of one thing after another. So it hung out in the back of my closet for a while, but I finally got it together to put the patches back on. I did sew them on with some cotton embroidery thread. And then these patches, these two at the bottom, these are just like little offcuts of quilting cotton. You might actually even recognize this one, that I made my pillowcase out of this one. And then I did just like, this is my first ever attempt at sashiko, so I wasn't trying to be good. I was just trying to cover it up, honestly. And then this one, I just did a little whip stitch around. And I kind of want to embroider a word in here, but I don't know what. And this is now gone from something that was just sitting at the back of my closet to something I now wear every day again. I wore it this morning. Oh, and then this other patch on this side over here. I don't know where this patch is from. I got it at a craft crawl. I didn't take the maker's card or anything. They didn't seem like they were pro level. You know what I'm saying? Okay, and then this is my pro level patching project. This vest has been in my life for so long. It was originally a jacket, a denim jacket that I bought at Old Navy in, I swear it must have been 2012. And then I cut the arms off to make it a vest, and I spray bleached it, and I put some studs in it at one point and took those out, and none of that has done any good for the structural integrity of this thing. And so it has this giant hole at the back now. What I'm going to do is I did start pinning it into place and kind of decided that I wanted to save this project for later. But the whole back panel here, I'm just going to sew this piece of lime green fabric onto, and then I'm going to sashiko embroider this whole back panel here to bring some structural integrity back, because there's some spots that it is also beginning to ladder here. So the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take off one of these patches. I bought this patch in 2014, so just putting that out there. But the amount of people that have looked at this patch and said, does that say the night is alt-right? I don't want anybody to look at my clothing and think about that. I also, when I bought this, was much more of a night owl than I am now. I now go to bed at 10 p.m. and wake up at like 6:30 in the morning every day. It just doesn't feel like it's me anymore, which is too bad, because I actually really think that the moon is cute. But oh well. I might put another patch there. I might do something there. I have a feeling that the fabric, because again, this patch has been on since 2014. I have a feeling that the fabric underneath is going to be like kind of darker than this will, or it'll just be a different color. So we'll see. And then there's some other areas like this that I'm going to need some other holes to fill. This was my category that's like, is it two categories? Is it one category? Sashiko, embroidery, patching. It all kind of melds together often, but I do have a couple of pieces that I intend to just embroider, like not do sashiko on. This isn't one of them. This is another piece of sashiko. This is a little bit more of practice before I do my huge sashiko piece. I kind of want to get a little bit better at it, but I did this. The grid lines are just washout marker. And this is another shirt that I bought new. I'm a little bit more precious about items that I've bought brand new. A lot of the time, if there's something that I bought from the thrift store and it's lived a good long life with me and it's reaching the end of that life, I bought it secondhand in the first place. You know, we'll see how much mending I do on it, but especially something that I've bought new, I'm going to try and stretch that thing out. So I bought this new, so I'm going to try and stretch it out. This sashiko embroidery and patch is covering a hole that I could not hide. And then this piece of lime green, the same fabric that's on my giant patch, I'm just putting a few more patches on it just to kind of balance it all out. So next up, this is just embroidery, is this sweatshirt, which is a merch shirt from my job again. I really like this. It's so comfy. It's a little oversized. Unfortunately, I burned a tiny hole right on the chest while I was using a substance that's fully legal in this country. So what I'm going to do is, I've even already drawn them on, is just embroider some daisies all over it. So I'm going to cover up the hole and then add some more just for fun. And I don't know when I'm going to do this. I drew them on, but I'm not really in need of a big comfy sweatshirt just yet. I think that once the weather cools down more, I will desire more big, cozy, comfy, fleecy sweatshirts. Next up, I'm going to talk about upcycling. I talked about this particular project in my last video. This is the back panel of a house jacket project that I'm working on. This is following a guidebook from a maker called Naoshimasu. and I'm having a lot of fun with it. I've made a little bit of progress since I last showed this, but this is like very much on the back burner. So the purpose of this project is to make a quilted house jacket out of upcycled materials. The inside is made out of bed sheets, bed linens, I should say, because this purple here is my old duvet cover. But it was stained, it was ripped, it was bumming me out, as were the bed sheets. And then on this side, this is a mixture of fabrics. I did actually buy, as I said in my last video, I did buy this green fabric new because I got all my scraps together and it was just looking really loud and busy and I wanted to ground it down. This yellow fabric I did also buy new, but I bought it for a different project that I then abandoned. And now it's being turned into this. So this was even already cut into something that I then decided not to make. And so I cut it again to put it in this thing. And these ones, all of these here, this, and this, these all came from the scrap bin at a local sewing studio that I go to sometimes called Empire Makespace. This project has really gotten me thinking about other ways that I could use this kind of method. I'm definitely not going to use all of the fabrics that I got at Empire Makespace in this. So what I think I'm going to do is, using much the same method, I think I'd like to make a bag. These are some sewing patterns that my partner bought from the thrift store. And specifically, I want to make this bag, this big tote bag. It's quite large. My partner made one and it turned out pretty big. It fits a lot of stuff. And what I think I want to do is, much like this house jacket, I want to use 1 or 2 layers of old bed sheets as like batting, and then applique some other fabrics over top of that, then quilt it down, and then make that into a tote bag, which feels like maybe a lot of work, but I also think it would be really fun. And I think it would be very unique. So we'll see. That is a ways away. This is another thing. I wasn't sure if it should be its own category or if I should fit it in with the upcycling category. And I think it counts as upcycling. I have been frogging old knitting projects. So this yarn is all in like tiny mini little, I tried to make little hanks, and some of them turned out better than others, because I made a musselburgh hat with this beautiful hand-dyed, naturally dyed yarn from a local maker called Hello Stella. And I just hated the way that it turned out. It was one of those things where like halfway through the project, I could tell that I wasn't really vibing with it. But I think I had been in a bit of a phase where I was like half knitting a lot of stuff and then ripping it out. And I was just like, I just need to finish something. So I finished it. And then I was like, I don't like it. But I did pull out most of it. And it was really annoying because of the way that I did the striping and blocking. And now I have all these teeny pieces, but that's okay. I did soak the yarn. I did reblock this yarn twice even, and it's still a little bit kinky. I might just have to deal with that. I don't know exactly what this is going to be just yet. I do have another naturally dyed yarn that I think would go really nicely with these colors. And I think I might just make like a cowl or something like that in micro stripes or blocks of micro stripes, rather than working against the fact that these are in the tiniest little amounts that felt like, is this even worth saving? I'm just gonna incorporate that into whatever I make. These are just 2 of many, many balls of super bulky single ply yarn that I bought when I like first started knitting, and I didn't really know what I liked yet. I don't really like super bulky single ply yarn. So these are 2 of many others, but I took apart both a big scarf that I made out of this yarn and a sweater that I made out of this yarn, both of which were just like way too warm. And I do have a pretty good idea of what I'd like to make with them. One of them I talked about in my video, which is I'm just going to make a rectangle scarf, like a color block, brightly colored rectangle scarf. Other thing I want to make is I've already bought the pattern. It's, I believe, called Vest Number 5 from My Favorite Things Knitwear. And it's knit at a super bulky gauge. It's knit with some combination of yarns. I forget exactly what. And since I won't be doing that, I'll just be using one strand of single ply rather than multiple strands of whatever yarn weights they are. I will have to make a few changes, but my intention is to have it as a chunky outdoors vest. Like, it's going to be outerwear. Like, I'm going to put it over my winter parka. It's kind of the only way I can think of that I would wear a garment made out of yarn this thick, is to truly just embrace it as outerwear, because it is too warm. It's so warm. I don't think I'd buy super bulky yarn at all anymore, except maybe for like the occasional like gift knit, like maybe a hat or again a scarf, because it works up so fast. The last thing I'm going to talk about is darning. This one is really new to me, and I'm going to be real with you, I'm not that good at it yet, but I've been darning my socks. So this sock, I don't know where the other one from this set went. Very annoying, but imagine, if you will, another sock much like this. The main color in this sock is made from mending. I have beef with this yarn because even though I actually really like the way that it feels, and I would knit with it again, it's marketed as a sock yarn, and I don't think it's good for a sock yarn. It doesn't have any nylon in it, and every pair of socks that I've made with this yarn has developed holes like pretty fast, which is unfortunate. Even this pair, which, again, imagine if you will that there was a second sock in this pair. I've knit the toes and heels of this pair in Patton's Croy, which does have nylon in it, hoping that that would keep it from developing holes, but that didn't quite work. So I've been practicing darning, and if I'm being really real, because it's just going to felt over like this, the bottom of the sock. No one's ever going to see this. So I think that's a nice, like, low stakes way to practice darning. For this pair of socks, I've just been using, this is also Patton's Croy. I think I like picked this up so cheap, and I don't think I actually want to use it, but it is kind of fun. The color changing factor is kind of fun in darning. So that's that. The other sock also had holes that I needed to darn, but I don't know where I put it. And then this is a pair of socks that I want to darn. This is all mending. This is perverted, me doing this, but you see what I mean. So I think that there's a couple of spots on this. Yeah, there's like a couple spots on this sock that could use reinforcement. So I'm going to darn these as well. And I think that instead of this yarn, I'm going to use some navy blue Lang Yevel. I do have more of this mending left over, but I just don't trust it. It's a shame because I love this color. This mustard yellow color is so good. I feel like that was actually quite a lot. Those are all of the mending based projects that I've been working on lately, as well as some future project plans. So I hope you enjoyed watching this slightly different format of video. I will be making more of these and updating you on some of the things that I talked about in this one. If you'd like to find me elsewhere, you can find me on Instagram, Rachel Smiley. It's just my name with an underscore on either side. I hope you have a good day or night or whatever time it is that you're watching this video. Go make some art. Go mend something. Go do something with your hands. Bye.